So to begin the look, I'm applying the Fenty Beauty primer and I'm placing that all over my skin. And then I'm going to clean up my brows. I feel like it gives me the most polished look and I tend to do this quite a bit. I love using the Studio Finish concealer and I think it just looks great. It blends like a dream and I'm using a very small Coastal Scents brush and I'm just, like I said, mapping out the shape that I want. This is going to make it really easy to fill in. On this day, I was in quite a bit of a rush because in true Stephanie fashion, I am always late. So I'm just going to go ahead and prime my eyes. You will notice that throughout the tutorial or the look, I'm actually going to be kind of like doing my makeup out of order, which is totally fine. So now I'm just starting off with my eyes and I'm starting off with the full zipped color to set everything in place. And then I'm going to use the Goals AF palette by Patrick Starr. It's been such a pretty palette. Actually, I forget if it's the Goals or the Glam. I'm pretty sure it's Goals. But I'm using the soft brown shade first and I'm placing that in the crease. Just kind of like giving me a transition shade. And I'm also going to use that same shade and put that on the lid. Now, what I loved about this color is that it's very buildable. So even though I wasn't using it just in the crease, you could see dimension and there were different layers to it as well. I'm also using the shade Swiss Chocolate, which honestly reminds me of hot chocolate, which the name could not be more perfect. And I'm using the same brush that I applied soft brown on the lid with. And I'm blending that out just in the crease like I mentioned. Add as little or as much. And here I'm also going to use a Dose of Colors blending brush just to give myself a little bit more color and more depth. I really wanted to go for that matte brown shade or not shade, but eye look. Because I thought, you know, I've already done the pink look. I need to switch it up a little bit. And this was perfect. And I'm also going to keep dipping into the shade Soft Brown just to blend out any harsh edges. And it looks so pretty, guys. This was definitely one of my favorite looks. I might even use this on a more of an everyday basis because you can deepen it as much as you'd like or keep it as light as possible. And they blend so well. I completely forgot how good the MAC shadows were until I picked these two palettes up. I had used the Mariah Carey one and I was like, ugh, I don't really know how I feel about it. But I knew I had to support Patrick, so I did it. And here again, I'm just adding that Swiss Chocolate and Soft Brown just to soften up the edges. For foundation, I'm using the Studio Finish by MAC and in the shade NC42. Whenever I feel like I have to do more glam looks, I always reach for this foundation because it's the most long wearing on my skin and it never, it never fails me. So I had to use it and it blends like a dream. I'm using the Sephora airbrush brush because it really does pick up any extra product and it buffs it right out. Then to pre-conceal, I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Tan and I'm blending it out with that complexion brush that I had used in the previous video. And I know I had said it was like the Beauty Blender of all brushes, but it's actually the brush version of the Beauty Blender. I know it's a little weird that I'm not wearing a headband and I kind of wish I was, but I didn't have time for myself to do my hair, so I just kind of winged it. And then here I'm using the Makeup Revolution concealer just to highlight all those areas that I typically do. I've been really enjoying it and I might actually just stay with the C8. I'll probably purchase the one after, but I'm actually really impressed with the way that it blends and overall the way that it looks. After I've continued to blend that out, I'm going to use the Laura Mercier translucent powder. I recently started using this all over again and it really does keep me nice and mattified without making my skin look super, powdery. And for the rest of my face, I am using the NARS translucent crystal powder just to blend everything out and prepare it for other powders. Here I'm using the ColourPop an Alexis Jade, I believe the collection was. I honestly forget, but it was one of their bronzers and it's really pretty. It reminds me a lot of Give Me Sun, But you know, I wanted to give it a break, and I had purchased this recently, so I wanted to use it. And it really did complement my skin tone. It gave me that beautiful bronze, and it was very easy to blend. And as usual, I'm placing it on my cheeks, my chin, and I'm also placing it on my collarbone just to give me a little bit of extra color there as well. And I apologize if I sound extra groggy in this video. I literally just woke up, but I really wanted to get this video out for you guys. I'm also using a tried and true blush, which is the Good Girl Gone Bad by the Rihanna and Mac collection from a couple years ago. I cannot put it down. And here I'm using Heat Wave by Estee Lauder. It is so stunning. I had purchased it when it relaunched, and I hadn't used it, and I honestly don't know why, because it's that good. And it's very, very like blinding, but it blends really well. And I am using the, what's the brush called? The P75 from Wet n Wild, which is such a good brush. So if you want to get an affordable highlighting brush, definitely pick that one up. And then here I'm just applying the darker shades from the palette. Like I said, it's Swiss Chocolate as well as Embark, and they blend beautifully. I really wanted to make it nice and rich, which is also part of the reason why I waited to do my brows, because sometimes I feel like I need to just do my brows after the fact so that I can see how intense I want them to be. And here I'm using a BH Cosmetics brush. It's nice and fluffy, and I'm just putting the soft brown and Swiss Chocolate just to diffuse those colors and prevent any harsh lines. I'm also reapplying the soft brown shade on my crease just to ensure that it actually shows up. For my brows, I'm going to speed through this. I know I usually don't put this on in the videos, but I wanted to try it out for you guys, and I'm using the Dip Brown in the shade Dark Brown. I'm using this to carve out my brows as well as filling them in. I feel like it gives me a really nice, you know, look to the brow. It's nice and polished. It is more on the full coverage, or not full coverage, but the dramatic side, which I do like, especially for my brows when I'm going out. I feel like they show up a little bit better in pictures, but it's still very easy to apply, so I do enjoy it quite a bit. And I like to map it out first, or outline the shape, and then start to fill it in slowly. I do use feathering motions because I feel like it gives me the most natural brow, and it just looks the cleanest. We've all been there where our brows have been very dramatic, and I'm not proud of it. And here I'm just blending it out with the spoolie on the opposite side of the brush. And if I have any sparse areas on the brow, I'm actually going to be using the soft brown shade by Anastasia in their powder, just to make sure that there aren't any holes there and it just looks a lot cleaner. I've been loving this combination, and I might even do it for an everyday look as well. Here I wanted to try the gel liner instead of liquid liner, but I didn't realize how dry the Inglot liner was at this point, so I probably shouldn't have done it, but it's okay. It still worked. I did have the Duraline fluid, so that helped to make it a little bit better, but just for future reference, if you're in a rush, you probably want to use a liquid because it's a little bit quicker and it'll ensure that you don't really have to worry about it in the future. Here I'm applying some of the Mr. Big Monsieur, whichever the mascara from Lancome is. I'm using this one. I got a sample and I have to say it's so good. I'm debating whether or not to get the original one or the waterproof. So if you guys have tried it out, let me know which one you prefer. And I'm going back in with the shade Full Zipped just to highlight my brows a little bit as well. Or not my brows, my brow bone. And I've used the Glow Setter spray from Glam Glow just to help intensify that glow a little bit more. As for lashes, I'm applying the Studio Effects in Demi Wispies from Ardell. These are beautiful. They do apply quite quickly. And I was using the Duo Glue, which, fun fact, it dries super quick. So I would definitely say just wait like less than 30 seconds for the glue to dry, because you're not going to need more than that. After I've applied my lashes, I'm going in with Embarked again just to deepen up the eye look. and make it more sultry, as well as going in on the lower lash line just to give us that definition on the bottom so that it doesn't look super top heavy. This is one of my favorite techniques to use, and I feel like it opens up and rounds up my eyes a little bit more. So I'm using the soft brown, the Swiss chocolate, and embark on the lower lash line. And try to be careful not to poke yourself. I think the easiest way to do that, or to prevent rather, is to make sure that you're looking down, because then it's going to make it a little bit easier. You guys know I've been really obsessed with the L'Oreal Voluminous X Fiber Mascara when it comes to coating my lower lash lines, or my lower lashes. I cannot speak for, like, to save my life, guys, sorry. But it does make them look nice and full to complement the fake lashes. Here I'm applying Mahogany Lip Liner. You guys know this is my jam. And I also tried out some of the new ColourPop lipsticks. So I believe I used the shade Money. Actually, I don't remember, but this one was super pink and I decided not to go with it. I'm going to list the name of the lip colors below just so you guys can see them. But this was a really pretty color. I just don't think it really complemented what I was wearing. I was wearing a white top and red skirt, you know, for Galentine's Day. So I did want to tone it down with a slightly more nudie shade. And I think it really worked out. And here I'm just highlighting the rest of my skin a little bit, just to give us that extra glow. And I'm also using the Mariah Carey body shimmer. I forget the name of it, but it was really pretty, and I don't remember what the name of it was, but I will list it down below as always. And here I'm just applying some liquid liner just to intensify that liner a little bit more, and also to hide the lash band. And I'm just finishing up some, you know, like extra touches on the eyes, making sure they're nice and even and that they look perfect. To finish off the look, I am going to apply just a little bit of gloss because I feel like it's very flirty, and this one I believe is the shade Moonchild, also from ColourPop, and it's the collaboration with Kathleen Lights. And there you have it. That is my final Galentine's Day brunch look. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun, and as always, I can't wait to see you in the next video. I hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.